Right, so transfer window, lots of clubs doing bits. They are. Chelsea have done a lot of purchases, now doing a lot of sales. You've got Arsenal making headlines with, they got Norgard, Zubamende, Noni Madueke for a lot of money. And of course, they finally got their man, Victor Gyökeres, the big money striker, the solution to all their problems. Obviously, you've got Liverpool. Liverpool have signed absolutely everyone after winning the title. They've already broken the transfer record with Florian Wirtz, and they're looking to absolutely demolish that record yet again, signing a striker in Alexander Isak that would cost a redonkulous amount of money. Oh yeah, by the way, after spending 95 million euros on Ugo Ekitike. That's right, Liverpool. They're doing a lot. But what about humble, sweet, defenseless, vulnerable little Man United? What's going on with Man United? Come on. They are the big story. They're the hot story in town. They always have been. That, a club of the size of Manchester United, either winning for donkey's years like they did, or being in the banter era like they've seemingly been in for a while. They always make the headlines, and we were led to believe they're in financial disarray, though they've spent a lot of money on the duo of Matheus Cunha and Bryan Mbeumo. But they are in desperate need of a striker. And what's going on with them? We're going to talk about them a little bit in today's video, so welcome on back. Come on, come in, sit down, shut the door, shut it, sit down, be quiet. Thank you for joining me, guys, here today on the channel on Football Yannick. A little gentle reminder that, of course, there are daily videos here on the channel. Really, really grateful for the recent support. We've, of course, hit 19,000 subscribers. So we are on the road to 20k. I'm going to get that 20k. I'm going to get it with your help. So thank you. Man United. Let's look at this, shall we? This is on The Athletic. This is how they have... Well, it says, where was Bryan Mbeumo fit for Man United? But they've got me on that right sort of inside 10, which I suppose makes sense. And I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, we're going to talk about the striker, aren't we? Because, Andre Onana in goal. A lot of Man United fans will want him replaced. The Athletic here have put a back three of, understandably, Lenny Yoro, the young French defender. High ceiling. Yeah, he's got to be in there. He's got to be the future. Harry Maguire keeping his place, which is interesting to me. Is he staying there? Obviously he's better in a back three than in a two. So this system kind of suits him. And, of course, last season we saw the Ruben Amorim break glass Harry Maguire striker, basically putting him up front. Surely that cannot be a plan going into this next campaign. And then, obviously, they're putting the farm on Luke Shaw staying fit and hoping he could play as the left-sided centre-back. Where is De Ligt in all this? Because he's young and expensive. Even that young kid, Heaven, could be utilised, surely, no? What I find very interesting in this graphic as well is all of it, really. The only two... Bruno Fernandes, I guess playing deeper, he can dictate play. So, surely you needed a real good enforcer next to him, like an Ugarte, not Casemiro. Is Casemiro still the answer? He's on insanely high wages at Manchester United. He obviously had a whole season of us watching him going, wow, this is an embarrassing ghost in a shell of this multiple Champions League winner. To his credit, he found a little bit of form again. But is he the solution? Surely you build around Ugarte, who played for Ruben Amorim at Sporting and turned into a 50-60 million pound player that went off to PSG. That's surely the profile, no? And then Patrick Dorg, who was a very cheap wing-back purchase from Serie A. Fine. Is he the answer? Again, is he Man United starting left wing back? Is he? Surely you try and get Luke Shaw to play that role, and then you bring in De Ligt into the back line. Although Luke Shaw's 30 now, but that's fine. Is it? If he's fit, I suppose. Ahmad. Yeah, I understand why you want Ahmad in the side, and maybe it's a bit of an asymmetrical system where the right wing back is more advanced than the left. He's a good finisher. He's got a good engine. Fine. And then, yes, obviously the new signings that cost. Matheus Cunha was £62.5 million. Bryan Mbeumo was £71 million. Huge investment. They are both getting into the starting lineup. And yes, they are both in the front three. There was some speculation that Mbeumo or even Cunha could play as a striker in a pinch, but you're not going to get the best out of them. And I think, yeah, play them in those positions. And I guess fine, play Bruno Fernandes in a deeper position and complete your box midfield with those players. I mean, again, how old is Casemiro? Because surely, if, for example, I don't know, Al Nassr came along, he's 33, man. He turns 34 this season. He turns 34 this upcoming season. That is not the solution. You got to try and get him to Saudi, surely. When's his contract run out as well? How long did he sign? It's next summer. So you lose him on a free. I don't know why they're not trying to sell him. Is there no market for him? Does Saudi not want him? I mean, am I being unfair? Is he like a wicked player that deserves to start for Man United? His current market value is 10 million euros, which is about £7 million. But, you know, Saudi would pay £20 million for him and take the wages, you know, the wages off your hands, which is astronomical. I find it incredibly silly for Manchester United to be planning their future midfield around this. So, I mean, maybe he's just a placeholder there. Surely Ugarte, who's cost a significant fee, goes in. But they need a striker, man. Look, the new number 10s change United's needs at centre forward, says The Athletic. But obviously at the moment they've only got Rasmus. They've got the kid Chido Obi as well. But again, I'm going to say the line. This is Manchester United we're talking about. I've been pretty consistent on the channel as a non-Man United fan from the outside looking in, thinking I think Joshua Zirkzee is actually quite a good player. I know he's not like going to be scoring loads of goals, but I think for how much they purchased him for, I'm just having a look now on Transfermarkt. I think he was good value. How much? It doesn't say much. The 42 million euros, apparently, from Bologna. He's young, so he's 20. He's 24. He's not as young as I thought he was. But he's a good player to have. So 42.5 million euros. What's that? 36 million quid. He was like fine as a signing. You know, he looks like he can operate in the Premier League. His value since signing for Manchester United has plummeted down on Transfermarkt, but whose hasn't while being at Man United? Yeah, you keep Zirkzee, you utilise him in a couple of roles as a sort of like striker sometimes, but also as one of the inside 10s. He's fine. For me, Rasmus Højlund, you've got to get this guy out. And he cost you so much money, 80 million plus or whatever it was, and you overpaid for a player who has potential. And before, I'm not going to banter him entirely. Chelsea were looking at him, other clubs were looking at him because of his sort of profile as a striker. But it's been an awful move. His, after an okay start, but a bit silly, he got 3 goals last season. And, again, a Manchester United starting striker to get 3 Premier League goals is sort of beyond tragic, really. And he's young, so Italian teams like him. He can go and basically get out of that spotlight of the awful, negative and constant news cycle and go and redevelop yourself somewhere. Maybe to come back and play for United or just develop elsewhere or whatever. Stay at United, pick up your pay packet. But from the outside looking in, these aren't Manchester United strikers. We are reading briefings that they are going in for strikers. Of course, Seshko is one that's left, but you'd think that Newcastle and Man United's futures are intrinsically linked now because they both are going to be desperate for strikers. So, Football 365, I'm seeing here, a Seshko agreement in principle struck as striker chooses between Man United and Newcastle. According to reports, both are keen on the player. Yada, yada, yada. The Reds have already beaten them to, so it's talking about Newcastle losing Ugo Ekitike. Benjamin Seshko has an agreement in principle with Newcastle, is the report on Football 365, which leaves Manchester United in an interesting position. Of course, both these clubs, United and Newcastle, will be sort of, I guess, fighting over Jackson and Seshko. I mean, is that it? Like that, and they're both going to be expensive. I was seeing a report today that this morning, rather, or afternoon now, at time of recording, that Chelsea value Nicholas Jackson at £80 million, which people might have laughed at a few months ago, but after seeing, how much Ekitike has gone for, who has less goal involvements in the last 2 years in a weaker league than Jackson, Chelsea can be like, even though, Ekitike is the jewel in the crown at Frankfurt, and, the buying clubs will say to Chelsea, Jackson's surplus to requirements, we ain't paying that much, which is fair. Apparently, Newcastle United value Jackson at £65 million, which, to be honest, is comfortably over double what Chelsea bought him for. I wonder if a deal could be done for 70. But are Manchester United and Newcastle United essentially fighting over Benjamin Sesko and Nicholas Jackson? It kind of feels like that's the situation they're in. But look, Man United need a striker. I think it just massively changes the complexion. If they go into next season, you can have your, question marks over Harry Maguire still starting. Where's Luke Shaw in his career? Are these wing-backs good enough for this wing-back system? There's such an important role in this tactics. As I know as a Chelsea fan from Conte and Tuchel, the wing-backs are so important. Is Dorgu and Ahmad the most appropriate players for that? You can answer those questions yourself. But if you have that strong box midfield, let's just say Ugarte, Fernandes, Cunha, and Mbeumo, very strong, and then suddenly if you put a striker there, like a good striker in front of them, it's, the whole conversation shifts, doesn't it? It's different gravy, because from even Rasmus Højlund and to Nicholas Jackson, it's just different, isn't it? I know, Jackson's taking a lot of heat, taking a lot of banter, but it's, it's where we are in the striker wars. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments section below. Of course, there's daily content here on this channel, Football Yannick, sometimes multiple uploads, so do consider subscribing, jumping on the hype train. Of course, over 19,000 subs. Let's try and get to 20k before the summer is out. I'd love for us to achieve that together, so thank you for liking, thank you for subscribing, and I'll see you back here soon. Peace.